The storm raged across Sector 7 of the northern quadrant, its violet lightning illuminating the crashed vessel that lay half buried in the crimson soil. Inside the damaged craft, Zira's breathing grew labored as the life support systems failed, one by one. Emergency lights pulsed weakly, bathing her blue-tinged skin in an eerie glow. Her six-fingered hand pressed against the cracked view screen as she sent out one final distress signal before her strength failed her. 20 miles away, in the small research outpost that represented humanity's farthest reach into this section of space, Arjun Mehta jolted awake as his communication system blared with the unfamiliar signal pattern. The 32-year-old xenobiologist had been stationed on Proxima b for 18 months now, studying the planet's unique ecosystem in splendid isolation. The nearest human settlement was 3 days away by shuttle. "Computer, analyze signal," he mumbled, rubbing sleep from his eyes. The AI processed the unfamiliar transmission. Distress beacon detected. Non-human origin. Signal contains coordinates and life sign readings. Arjun's heart raced. In all his time, on this distant world, he had found evidence of ancient civilizations, but never encountered any sentient aliens still living in this sector. The scientific implications alone were staggering. "How far?" he asked, already pulling on his environmental suit. 19.7 miles northeast. Warning: atmospheric storm conditions exceed safety parameters for rover travel. Arjun hesitated for only a moment. Prep the emergency medical kit and load the coordinates. Someone's dying out there. The journey through the storm was treacherous. Twice, his rover nearly toppled as the fierce winds buffeted the small vehicle. The violet lightning struck dangerously close, the magnetic disruptions playing havoc with his navigation systems. But Arjun pressed on, guided by the pulsing signal that grew stronger as he approached. When he finally crested the ridge and saw the crash ship below, his breath caught in his throat. The vessel's design was unlike anything in human records, all smooth curves and translucent materials that seemed to shift color with the storm's lightning. Parts of it had embedded themselves deep into the red soil, while others had shattered on impact. "Hello? Anyone alive in there?" Arjun called through his suit's external speaker as he approached cautiously. No response came, but his scanner detected a faint life sign from within the wreckage. It took him nearly an hour to find a way inside, carefully cutting through the strange material of the ship's hull with his plasma torch. When he finally entered, the air was thin but breathable. He removed his helmet and followed the life signs to what appeared to be the control chamber. That's where he found her. She lay unconscious beside a control panel that still flickered with dying light. Her form was humanoid, but undeniably alien, tall and slender, with blue-tinged skin that seemed to shimmer with subtle bioluminescence. Her hair, if it could be called that, moved slightly, even in the still air, like tendrils of living silver. Six-fingered hands lay limp at her sides, and her chest barely rose with shallow breaths. "I've got you," Arjun whispered, though he knew she couldn't hear him. His medical scanner indicated severe trauma and rapid deterioration of vital signs. Whatever passed for blood in her body was leaking internally, and her equivalent of a respiratory system was failing. With gentle care, he administered emergency stabilizers from his kit, thankful that the basic medical principles seemed to apply to her physiology, despite the obvious differences. He wrapped her in a thermal blanket and carefully carried her to his rover, securing her for the treacherous journey back to his outpost. The return trip seemed twice as long, every jolt of the rover sending a spike of anxiety through him as he monitored her unstable life signs. "Hang on," he murmured. "Just hang on." At the outpost, Arjun worked feverishly, adapting his medical equipment to her alien biology, using his xenobiological training to make educated guesses about her needs. For 3 days, he barely slept, constantly adjusting treatment protocols as he learned more about her unique physiology from his scans. On the fourth day, her eyes opened. They were startling large and faceted like a dragonfly's, but shimmering with an inner light that shifted between silver and violet. She recoiled in fear at the sight of him, a series of musical tones emanating from her throat. The alien watched him warily, then slowly relaxed as understanding seemed to dawn. She reached for the translator device on the table beside her, a standard item in Arjun's research kit, and pressed it to her throat. When she spoke again, the device converted her musical language into words Arjun could understand. "You saved me." Her translated voice sounded mechanical, but carried emotion nonetheless. "Why?" Arjun smiled. "Because you needed help. I'm Arjun Mehta. I'm a researcher from Earth." "Earth?" she repeated, the words sounding strange through the translator. "I am Zira, scout of the Lirith Collective." She paused, studying him. "My people believe your kind to be dangerous primitives. This is why we have avoided contact. And yet here we are," Arjun said with a gentle smile. Over the following weeks, Zira recovered her strength. She explained that she had been on a solo scouting mission when an unexpected solar flare damaged her ship's systems, forcing her to attempt an emergency landing. Her people, the Lirith, had been observing human expansion into this sector with caution, unsure whether to establish formal contact. As her health improved, Zira began to help Arjun with his research. Her knowledge of local ecosystems far surpassed his own, and she seemed genuinely interested in his work. They developed a comfortable routine, sharing meals during which they exchanged stories of their vastly different worlds. Arjun noticed subtle changes in her behavior. The way her skin would glow more intensely when he entered the room. How her silver hair tendrils would move in patterns he eventually recognized as expressions of pleasure or excitement. The lingering touch of her six-fingered hand when they worked together over his lab samples. One evening, as they watched Proxima B's twin moons rise over the Crimson Plains, Zira's translator produced words that changed everything. "My people have a belief," she said softly, "that when one life saves another, their essences become entwined across all possible realities." Her large, faceted eyes turned to him, shimmering with emotion. "I never understood this belief until now." Arjun felt his heart quicken. "What are you saying, Zira?" "I am saying that I have developed feelings that are not common among the Lirith. Feelings of attachment, of desire." The translator struggled with the concepts, but her meaning was clear. "I believe you call it love." Arjun sat in stunned silence. 1,000 questions raced through his mind about biological compatibility, cultural differences, and the implications for human-Lirith relations. Yet looking at Zira, with her alien beauty and the intelligence that shone in those remarkable eyes, he found himself caring less about those questions than about the warmth spreading through his chest. "My people have a saying," he finally replied, "that love finds a way, even across the stars." The rescue beacon Zira had sent before losing consciousness had reached her people. They would arrive within weeks to retrieve her. What would happen then remained uncertain. Would this be the beginning of official contact between their species? Would she return to her duties as a scout? Would they find a way to bridge the vast differences between their worlds? For now, beneath the alien sky of a distant planet, a human and an alien who had once been strangers watched the moons rise together, their hands one with 5 fingers, one with 6 intertwined in a silent promise that whatever came next, they would face it together. Some boundaries, it seemed, even the vast emptiness of space could not maintain. Some connections transcended the differences of biology and culture. And sometimes, the most unexpected encounters led to the most profound discoveries, not just of new worlds and species, but of the heart's infinite capacity to recognize itself in the most alien of places.